Good afternoon and welcome to the market close for this Wednesday. I was about to say October. It's not October, August 14th. I'm double checking here. Yes, it is the 14th. Woohoo. Hey, it's great to be back. It seems like it's been a long time since we've last spoken. Well, we had, of course, this week on Sunday, so it hasn't been that long. Now, I did say on this week that I would give you guys an opportunity if you guys want another market close on Friday. We'll do it for supers, and you guys got it. So you got the whole show to figure that all out. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Oh boy, we got a lot of stuff going on. So we had a PPI come out on Monday. Well, we had on Tuesday, we had the CPI come out today. We got stuff going on with the World Health Organization. Oh boy, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on. And we also got a live market. So let's pull it up. Let's see where things are at this moment. All right, here we go. This is kind of fun. Before we actually talk about the market, I was looking at Bitcoin the other day. And so I was doing the play on it. So I, of course, made a little chart here. And this purple is my prediction on what was going to happen when it broke out of this pattern. And you can see, I always love it when it happens exactly like I'm thinking. Now, it did not get completely to my target, which was right here. But if you'll notice, it did get pretty darn close. We're now, of course, in a downward slide. And we'll talk all about that later. Let's get back over here to the charts. The TSX. So the TSX has, it's green. We got a nice green day. We've got a nice climb since the big crash of last week. So it's been doing rather well. It hasn't made up all of its ground yet, but it is getting there. So we're up 0.41%. The S&P 500, it's the same story. Also climbing up. Now, these numbers are low. And considering we had good news today in regards to U.S. inflation, you almost would have expected them to be doing much better. But they've been flat. They have been flat. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll probably talk about that after the bell. The NASDAQ, it is currently just a little bit into the green, down 0.25%. It has been, well, once again, it's been a flat day. But you'll notice that since we had that big crash, it has recovered quite a bit. So that's not too shabby. Right now, they're having some resistance here and you can see these little lines here. Those of you on your phone, you probably can't see it. But if you've got a larger screen or if you got me on your TV, then yeah, you can definitely see these. These here are the moving averages. So they are offering a little bit of resistance. Once we punch above this, that will definitely be good for the NASDAQ. And we get the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones doing fantastic. It's, still climbing. Nothing I can say bad about that. Now, everything else, though, look at this. Gold is down 0.85%. Silver's down 1.26%. Oil, WTI, is down a full 2%. Bitcoin down 2.69%. And Ethereum is down 1.27%. So not the best day on the market for some of the commodities and for crypto. All right, let's pull up our heat map. Here is our Canada heat map. You can see most of the banks are doing okay. Royal Bank's up, TD's up. Bank of Nova Scotia is up 0.88% because they did have a little bit of a dip after that announcement of that acquisition. CIBC also doing good. Looking over here, the railroads, actually CP is up a tiny bit. CNR is down a little bit. Of course, we talked a little bit about the potential strikes for these guys, and it's not looking good. The government has come back with their report, and they basically said, well, there's really nothing that you guys can't not ship. So they're allowed to actually shut down everything if necessary. Now, one of the interesting things is they've already started. So they don't want to get into a situation right now, especially with things that are more hazardous. They don't want to have things get stuck in the middle of transit. So there's already been shipments that CP and CNR have stopped shipping. So something to keep in mind. Oh boy. Let's see. Dollarama is up. Metro's up, up a full 1.08%. Alimentation Couche-Tard up a slight little bit. The ETFs are not doing too shabby. Not too shabby. Most of them, I think, are up, so that's not too bad. The battle between VEQT and XEQT, dead tie. A dead tie. They're both up 0.31%. So that's kind of fun. I don't think we've ever had a dead tie before. Over to the US, NVIDIA is up a little bit, a full percent. Apple's up slightly. Microsoft's up a little bit. Google, Meta, Tesla, not doing so well. Amazon down just a little bit. So about half of the Magnificent Seven are being magnificent. The other half are being less magnificent, let's just say. I don't know. This is kind of interesting. This is a railroad down here, Union Pacific. So they're actually doing okay today, up there at 241.10. All right, moving on over to crypto. We got ourselves a lot of red once again. Look at this. Bitcoin down quite a bit, 2.6%. Ethereum is down. Toncoin, that's kind of interesting, up 8.82%. Now, there has been a big pump on XRP, but right now it is down a little bit. But let's actually pull it up. And you can sort of see this has been that big pump that we've been seeing. So I know a few XRP fans out there that are pretty happy with that because it's really starting to look like they are winning that battle with the SEC. And investors are liking that. Investors are liking that. Now, there are about 14,000 cryptos. There are a lot of cryptos I have never heard of, and we're going to pick one. We're going to pick a crypto. It's a red day. Let's pick a green crypto, some bizarre. Here we go. This one here. I don't know what this is. LBRY credits. For some reason, I think I see that little book thing, and I'm thinking library. Does this have something to do with a library? I don't know. I don't know. They're not worth very much. I mean, one of these is worth like what? 0.001 of a cent. That's just not very much. This is, once again, one of these coins I'm never going to own. I'll never buy it. I'll have nothing to do with it. But it goes to show there is a lot of coins out there, more than 14,000. And this is just another one of these obscure coins that I hope none of you have in your portfolio. I do like libraries, though, so I'll give them credit for that at the least. All right, boy. All right, let's get to you guys. Let's get to the chat here as we wait for the bell. Jersky is in the house with a hello. I hope you're having a green day. Yes, absolutely. Not a bad day. Not a bad day. 9 is in with a holy banana bread. Or is it just banana bread? I need the holy in there. Stan is a hi all. We got Vineet saying, hey, I agree. Howdy all from Roku in Stittsville, not far from here. And let's see, Patricia is saying hi. Brian McGrath is saying, well said. Well said. All right. Larry says, Regeneron hit all-time record highs, even at 1,150. It's still cheap. It will be $1 trillion company. So Regeneron, let's take a look. Let's actually take a look at Regeneron here. Oh, I'll get something else we're going to play with a little bit too. I think that's kind of funny here. Okay. Hello, where are you? All right. Well, I'll just reload the page. Oh, that's not the page I meant to reload. This is actually CoinGecko. So more or less a good place if you're looking for crypto resources. All right. This one here. Regeneron. R-E-G-E-N. Let's see. There's Regen 3. That's not what we're looking for. Regen. E-R-O-N. It's making me type everything in. Here we go. Regeneron Pharmaceuticals. So look at this. Definitely a high price tag. So $1,155. But look at this. This is another one of these ones where you're thinking, oh my gosh, I could have had this for $800. But yeah, it's absolutely doing really, really well. It does not have a dividend, so it is fully a growth stock. And we can see down here, Let's see. They discover, develop, and commercialize products that fight eye disease, cardiovascular disease, cancer, and inflammation. Guess what, guys? These are all diseases that are very prevalent in the boomers. And as they continue to get older, there's going to be a bigger demand in this very area. So yeah, I can definitely see this is a great little company. I don't even want to call them a great little company. What is their market cap here? Let's see, 125 billion. So definitely not a company to sort of sneer at. And let's come over here and look at this. I got a solid return on equity, 16.70%. Really good looking return on assets, 13.07%. And oh boy, this is great. Look at this. They have a debt to equity ratio of 10%. So they've got very little debt. This, Larry, this is a good company. I think you found definitely a winner here. A little expensive. You can probably, if you are looking at getting into this, those of you who have Wealth Simple, you might be able to get this fractionally. I'm not sure though, but you might. Patricia says, I have some XRP, a small amount. And Michael is saying, I bought HBAN, which is a bank in Ohio, which has an upside to $16. So HBAN, let's take a look at that. Let's pull this up here, see if we got it. HBAN, here we go. Huntington Bankshares Incorporated. So, okay, so right now it's sitting at 1348. Let's take a look. Look, they have actually been doing pretty good. This is a good movement up. There's a little struggle in there, but I think everybody had a little struggle in there, if I'm honest. Yeah, this is not looking bad at all. I imagine, do they have a dividend? I'm thinking, oh, they do. They actually have a quarterly dividend, 4.599%. And let's take a gander at my, you guys know my favorite little thingies here. The return on equity, 9.26%. Return on assets. Now you'll look at this and you'll say, oh, that's pretty low. Banks tend to have lower return on assets. So when you're dealing with the financial sector, expect to see these numbers a little bit on the lower side. So you can't look at it that way. They do have a lot of debt, but once again, that's a normal thing in that financial sector. Debt is pretty prevalent for sure. All right. And this is in regards to Regeneron. I've been buying since the 500s. Nice, Larry. That is nice. Is AP.UN still a good buy after their earnings? All right. Well, let's see what their earnings look like. Because I don't know. I haven't actually seen their earnings yet. All right. Let's see here. AP.UN. Boop-a-doo-doo-doo. I'm not seeing them. Let's just try AP. Let's see, AP-UN. Wonderful. I'm not having any luck finding them on here for some reason. Let's see, APARTMENT apartment. Yeah, so I don't know what their earnings are. However, let's just go. We'll go over here. I know I can find them on here. I may not have access to their earnings right now, but sorry, apartment Allied. Allied Properties. So we are looking at a REIT, and I am definitely very, very, very bullish on REITs right now. So when we look at this is one that hasn't been moving a lot yet towards the upside. Now, I do think there's definitely a chance. Like I think with Allied Properties, let me just see what their breakdown is here. Let's see. So, okay, well, this is probably why, because they have a lot of office environments. So if you have a REIT, so right now, the REITs that are going to take off first are going to be residential and industrial. Those who are office, we still have a little bit of a problem. We still have a little bit of a, sort of like the pandemic changed the world a little bit. So we have that issue where offices are just not going to be doing as well for now. I do need to come up to big screen here, though, for a moment, because it is time. The market is officially closed. Woo! All right. It's great. I hit the 4 o'clock even when I was in the middle of a tangent here. All right, let's pull this back. So once again, what I was saying in this situation here, offices, we're still kind of looking like there's still offices, and there's a lot of companies that have been downsizing office space. So there's still a good amount of office space empty. Now, you always hear stories of offices saying it's time to come back to work. But here's the big but. A lot of offices have moved into more of a hybrid. So where you only have to come in and spend a couple of days in the office each week. So if you have a situation where you only spend a couple of days in the office this week, it means that you probably don't need as much office space. So even those are going to be looking at downsizing. And I think that's going to be one of the reasons that as a lot of these other REITs, like the residential REITs, industrial REITs, as they're starting to take off with the rate cuts, they're going to lag. The office REITs, I think, are going to lag until we get to a new equilibrium. And that could take a little bit longer. I think they'll still do well. Like they're still going to have the benefits of the rate cuts, but it's going to take them a little bit. It is going to take them a little bit for sure. If you're in the REIT game, I'll tell you right now, if you want to hedge your bet, one way is, of course, is to go with an ETF. So I've been looking at this one here for a while, and I brought it up a lot. This is the new Hamilton RMAX one, and I'm excited about this one. So you'll notice now it's even up since the last time we looked at it. But this one's doing fantastic. So they're brand new. They started off at like $16. They're up to $17.44 right now. So they are doing well. Now, what I love about this REIT is a couple of things. One, you get full North American diversity. So you have 50% US REITs, 50% Canadian REITs. So the US REITs are doing a lot better than Canadian REITs out of the gate. And a lot of that is because they didn't get slammed by the increased interest rates the way that we did, because they, any of the new properties that these REITs took on during the pandemic, they were locking in these properties for like 30-year mortgages. So it really didn't impact them as much, and it's helped them recover faster. Now, the Canadian ones, this is where we're going to see the Canadian one shine, is as we move deeper and deeper into rate cuts, that's going to be big for the Canadian ones. So right now we've got one side pumping and the other side just starting to pump. So the US pumping, the Canadian side starting to pump. This is going to be a great REIT. Or not REIT, but ETF. This one's exciting. I'm looking forward. Like, I don't know how high up I'm going to ride this thing. And the funny thing is, I don't even care about the 10%, 9.332% dividend. It's nice, but I'm kind of eyeing that. I think this has a lot of room. Now, mind you, because it is covered calls, it is going to get capped a little bit on that upside potential. So, if this were not a covered call and just a straight up, I think you would definitely probably make more long term, but it is what it is. And I think right now it doesn't hurt having the income, and I think it's still going to do really, really well. So I'm pretty happy on that. All right. And before I get to Jagwinder there, one other thing where you were talking about that, let me just show you a REIT that's not an office REIT. We'll go with RioCan. So REI. So RioCan, they hold a lot of residential, and you will see when we look at them over the last year, they had the same thing. But then they've been responding well. They've been responding very well as the rate cuts began. There was that little crash, but that affected everybody. You guys probably remember that's when everybody was on the internet was going, "Oh my God, we're going into a recession. It's horrible." I wasn't saying that, but other people were. But we have come out of that correction, or we're at least moving in the right direction. And I think with the rate, the fact that we're going to start seeing rate cuts in the U.S. Starting in September, that's going to really help turn things around. So one of the things, and we're going to talk about the rates about inflation here in just a moment. I just want to get caught up first. All right. Jagwinder says thoughts on Alimentation Couche-Tard. All right. So ATD, it is one of my favorite stocks. I'm going to pull this up here. I do like them. And I have been holding, well, I had been holding them in the 0 to 100K challenge. But in the last rebalance, I did sell my position. But not because I don't have faith in them, only because I could see some short-term gains that I could get elsewhere that I thought would be more conducive to my overall goals. However, and this is kind of the way it goes, right? I sold out. I think I sold it somewhere along here. Somewhere's in here. Then we had a crash, and now it's coming back up. I still have full faith in this. And here's the beautiful thing: rate cuts are going to be good for a lot of the food-related stocks. So Alimentation Couche-Tard, especially the more expensive food like corner stores, gas stations. The food side of the gas stations. Those are all going to benefit really well from the rate cuts, because it's not that they have a lot of debt that they have to worry about. Well, in the case of Alimentation Couche-Tard, I think they do have a fair amount of debt. Let's just take a gander here, because I know they were always constantly expanding. Actually, it's not that bad. It's only 79%. So it'll help them. But what it will really help is a lot of their customer base. As rate cuts come down and interest rates start falling, people start to feel a little bit more confident about spending money. And that means that, those convenience buys, like stopping at the corner store on the way home to get some milk, it makes a lot more sense, and you're not as concerned. You're not like, okay, well, I'll hold off buying that thing at the convenience store. I'll wait till I'm doing groceries later in the week. I'll save money that way. So people tend to become a little bit less thrifty in that sense. And I think that will definitely help. All right. And let's see. BAM has been lagging the gains made by BN. So yes, it's kind of an interesting thing. Like BAM is also one of those stocks that I love. And I was really surprised when I did the video. So the asset manager video, I actually thought BAM was going to beat BN, but they didn't. But it does make sense. One of the things, I guess, with BN is that they are more of a total return growth stock. BAM, even though they are, they're also a total return stock, they do have a bit more on the dividend side. So they're looked at as being more of an income stock opposed to a growth stock. And that has sort of come through, I think, recently. But here's the thing. I think long-term, I do think BAM will retake that title. So I do have a lot of faith in BAM, but I also have a lot of faith in BN. And tomorrow, for channel members tomorrow, you'll be able to see the BN deep dive. Everybody else will see that deep dive on Friday when it drops. So it's actually interesting. I've never had this happen before. This is the first time where a company in my list got the next deep dive. I'm like, oh boy. So it happened. Vic is saying, holy Starbucks. Oh yes, good old Starbucks. See, Vic, now you're making me have coffee. All right. Larry says, I'm going Kathy Wood and saying I value Regeneron at 10 to 20,000 per share. We own 213 and buy 4 to 5 every month. Yeah, I liked what I seen. Now, I have not been paying attention to Regeneron. I'll be very honest with that. But now they're on my radar, and I'm looking, and I'm like, oh boy, that is kind of good. I am hoping. I'd actually like to see CIBC do a Regeneron CDR. Oh, I don't know if they do have one or not. Let's. This, everybody, is. I found this today. This here is called Google Jam. So it's a whiteboard you can change your color of the board. So for example, right now I had a blue, but I could go back to one, or if I wanted to do it with if I wanted like a grid, I can do that as well. So that's kind of cool. I can do I can do shapes. And here's the beautiful thing. I can drag the shapes around. The only downside, and the other one had this as well. So if I take, for example, let's say I'm making a regular shape like this, I don't have the option to drag it. So that's the one little thing that I still would like to have, is that option to drag it. But okay, we were going to look and see for Regeneron if there is a CDR. So CIBC CDR list. All right, we'll go in here. All right, they have a list in here somewheres. I don't want to access my account. I want to see your list. Visit our CDR solutions page. Sure, we'll go to the CDR solution page. Are you a resident of Canada? Yeah, okay. Come on, guys. Where is that list? It's like I seriously, when I did my last CDR video, I had no problem finding it. Oh, here we go. Explore CDRs. This is what we're looking for. All right. So Regeneron. We'll go to page 3. No, they do not have it. They do not have it yet. Boy, I hope they get it. I hope they get it. I think that would be a really, really big one, especially if they keep exploding the way they're going. All right. I'm going to come back to the big screen here for a moment. Let's see. I missed today's bell and can never get it back. Now I know. But there's always, there is an opportunity for a Friday show. So you guys know that the way we get that, if that happens, you can have that bell. You can have that bell. I'll dedicate that bell to you, Jonathan. You may have to remind me, but I'll try. Let's see. Enid says, good afternoon, everyone. And we got Mario in the house. Vic says, Auntie Wood seems to pick numbers out of the air. Sometimes. She tends to, when she's looking at any investment, she's a very glass half full person. So she doesn't go conservative with her estimates for sure. And you can see that with Tesla, with Bitcoin, a few other things like that as well. Thoughts on Air Canada? Will it ever friggin' recover? It's the Air Canada question of the day. Yes and no. Now, we're going to go back to the screen again. All right. I'm going to show you a few things here. So this is, whoops. All right. Let's get Air Canada up. Air Canada. All right. Here we go. I'm coming out to the 10-year, first of all. All right. So, of course, Air Canada was doing fantastic before the pandemic. We hit the pandemic. Air Canada, gosh, they made it down to $12. I would have loved to have bought some at 12. But they did slowly fight their way back up to the 20s. Here's the problem. Getting back up here is going to be very, very hard because there was a lot of dilution. So their outstanding shares increased big time. And that's part of how they survived some of that financial crunch of the pandemic. And, they're still in a position where they're not 100% profitable yet. So they still have work to do. But, and here's the big but, as we move forward, I think, above I think the 20s is reasonable. I think they can certainly get back to the low 20s. So how do you play that? This is how I'm playing it. So in the 0 to 100K challenge, I have added Air Canada. So you guys will see that in the next video. So that's, spoiler alert. So I have added Air Canada. I've got it at just under 15. So I plan to hold it until, and let's just come into I'm going to come into the 1 year. I plan to hold it until it gets back to basically about 20. So when it hits 20, I'm selling it. So for me, it's just, it's one of these situations where, yes, if you're looking at it long term, Air Canada will eventually get to a point where they stay above 20. and where they regain profitability, but it's going to take time. I had read about a year ago, they were saying that we're about 3 years away from profitability for Air Canada. So if that holds up true, then we're about 2 years away from profitability. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say when they're going to do it. They will do it, but that's the thing. So if you love Air Canada, and if you're at the point right now where you're DCAing into it, I think you're going to be fine. But you'll have to decide: do you want to hold it for a long time, or are you doing what I'm doing? I'm doing more of a swing trade with Air Canada. So I will add to it occasionally while it's down here. And when it gets to 20, yeah, that's fine. I will sell it. So let's say I could keep my adjusted cost base at 15 and then sell it at 20, that means I'm making just straight up $5 profit per share. I'm okay with that. So that's kind of where I'm playing. And I have played Air Canada before. I tend to look, for me, I always say if it's under 20, it's a good buy. But lately, I'm kind of in that position right now where, if you're under about here, so if you're under about 16, let's say 1675, I think it's a good buy. You're going to get that back probably sooner than later. But if you're expecting, to get back up to, well, I don't have it on that screen anymore, but if you're expecting to get back up to $50 at some point, you've got a long wait. You'll need a lot of patience. Will they get back up there? Probably eventually. It may not be within a year or 2 or 3. It may not be within 5 or 10 years. But it could. I mean, anything can happen in the market, but I think it's a long trek. So you got to be patient. Air Canada is one of those ones where you just want to set and forget, and maybe set up some rules to say, okay, I'm going to DCA add anytime, anytime it's under maybe, under maybe $16 or $16.75 or something like that. And I think you'll do well down the road. All right. Ricardo is in the house. Good afternoon, Can Dance. I am so sad that my gold play has been tremendously clapped. I hold 530 shares of GROY and hopefully white knuckle it into the green. Yeah. Let's look at GROY. Let's take a look at this here. GROY. All right. So now let's see. GROY. Let's see. Gold Royalty Corp. All right. We'll grab this one here. I think this is the one, the 128. Yeah. Now, normally I love royalty companies, and for me, it surprises me when, oh gosh, yeah. So it's come down quite a bit. I still have, like, my outlook for gold is good, I think, long term, and especially like right now, because we just had good inflation numbers and people are feeling like, okay, we're not going into recession now. It looks like things are going to turn around. It doesn't mean that it's smooth sailing from here. And gold is one of those assets. When it's not smooth sailing, it actually gets better. So that is something to sort of keep in mind. I think it's a good hold. Like, it's this, to me, this is the type of thing to hold on to long term. And you could always average a little bit down on it. Now, the other big thing, though, is with a royalty company, you do want to check. I don't know if I can see it here. Let's see. It's always good to know what their royalties are, because, for example, if they have royalties in, say, only one mine, that's not as good as if they have multiple mines, because sometimes you can run into situations in mining where, let's say you have a mine in Brazil, and let's say for whatever reason the Brazilian government gets into it with the company that is running that mine. That can sometimes really be a big impact. So you always kind of want to look at little things like that. Overall, I do like gold. I still think it's strong, and and it's not doing that bad. So the fact I'm a little surprised that this one royalty is not doing as good, but I think there's definitely some potential. Like, it did respond really well to when gold really had some good stuff happening towards the end of the year and early into this year. but it has also pretty negatively responded lately. So I would look a little more deeper into that for sure. Air Canada about to strike. There's a possibility. There is definitely a possibility. It's not highest on my radar at the moment. Obviously, the railroad strikes are up there. A funny thing, I did hear a story as well about Air Canada where they're actually thinking about getting a train, getting a train. That, and I thought that was odd. I didn't read too much about it, but it's more like a high-speed transportation route. Could be interesting. Could be interesting. Air Canada on the land. Larry says they have a mouse with a human immune system. They inject the mice with a disease, and the one that lives, you can take the antibodies out. Also have knockout where they can cancel out genetic diseases. Yeah. I mean, there is so much happening in the world of everything from immunology to just overall general disease mechanics. We're getting really, really good. Like things like CRISPR, for example, is allowing us to edit things at incredible precision. And once you add AI to the mix, as AI, because AI can crunch data really, really fast. So you can take a lot of data from a study that maybe a human, it might take months and months to crunch, and you can get AI crunching this in minutes. So I think there's going to be a lot of big advancements in medicine, and that obviously helps Regeneron as well. So that's just big. It's big. Let's see. Vic says big sale coming on Air Canada, CNR, and CPKS. I kind of hope. I'd love to see Air Canada drop down again. I hate to say that, but if there's a strike, yeah, I'll definitely be looking to buy more. And I mean CNR, yeah, nothing wrong with that. It'd be nice to get a lower entry point for some folks because see it. But I mean, here's the thing. I think any strike with the railroads, because of the crippling nature of the supply chain, I don't think the government will let it go on long. I really don't think it's going to go on for a long time. I think it will be a fairly short strike. I would not be surprised to see binding arbitration get played if they can't resolve it quickly. Larry says, so if your family is prone to liver disease, they can take out the DNA and replace it with somebody who has good liver genes. Yeah, exactly. Or sometimes it can be just as simple. Like some diseases, you can actually just turn them off with a couple of basically bio switches on your DNA. You can just inactivate some of it. There's just some crazy stuff out there research-wise that's happening. Let's see, 55 CDR, and it ain't one of them. I know. Jagwinder says, railroads are going on strike. CN is on a downtrend and is trading under 18 PE. Very cheap, but I think it'll drop more. CP is too expensive, in my opinion. Yeah, I think you'll probably see some good buying opportunities on the railroads and on Air Canada if we do get a strike with them as well. So that could be very, very interesting. But once again, I don't think even in Air Canada, I don't think that's a strike that will last very long if it happens. I mean, look at the WestJet when they had the strike with the mechanics. That did not last long, just enough to mess things up for people for a little bit, but it didn't last that long. Michael says, do you look at a month chart to understand when to buy? It sort of depends. I kind of look at one of the things, it depends on my goal, first of all. So if I'm looking to buy for swing trading, then I'm probably using even shorter charts, depending on what my time frame is. So for example, we'll bring it back over here. Let's get out of here. Let's come down here. So when I was making some trading earlier, I'm just going to close this down a little bit. There we go. I was using technical analysis. So I was basically charting. So from here, I was charting this pattern in here because, we were getting some resistances along here. We were getting bounces. Well, we got a bounce down here. So this here gave me a general idea of the way things were moving. So at this point here, I had I sold somewheres up in here. I bought somewheres down in here. I think I missed this one, but I ended up buying again down here, and I knew it was going to break. So here was my strategy. I assumed it was going to break to the upside, but if it hadn't, if it had started to break to the downside, well, I'll take this. There would have been a potential of it coming down to 55. So I was prepared to sell in here if it broke to the downside, and that would have been fine. I would have taken a loss, but I would have sold down here. But it did break to the upside. So the beautiful thing with that is that as it was moving up, I had to sort of look at more opportunities. So I ended up, once I started going sideways, at that point I did sell, and then I was looking for a correction at that point, which we got down in here, and I ended up buying, I think I bought right around here. And then I still, it's lower than where I bought it right now, but I am looking for a rebound, hopefully tomorrow. So that's kind of the way that I will chart that type of thing. But when I'm looking at my long-term buys, so my long-term buys, it really boils down to, it depends on a couple of things. So let's give you an example here. Give me a moment. We'll come back to over here. Okay, I know one. One of the stocks that I'm holding right now in the 0 to 100 challenge is CNQ. All right, so we'll bring up CNQ. So, and I'm just going to go to the last year. So if we look at that last year, you can see we had this big explosion in CNQ, and I started buying, I think, in the challenge somewhere's down in here, and we got up to the top. Fantastic. I kind of held here, but then as we fell down, I will start buying. I'll kind of like, as we're down from where I think we should be, I'll kind of go into more of a DCA. So I might buy here and I might buy here if I'm lucky. And that's kind of what I did. I think I ended up buying a couple of shares, and now it's sitting at 49. I still have full confidence, but it'll get back up there. But it's now, to me, it's still in a good position. So if I wanted to add more CNQ, I would be in that position where I'll be like, yeah, that would be good to go in. But there's a danger. I want to show you guys. Oh, we'll show you this. Oh, we'll do it. Where is it? Is this it? Here it is. All right. Oh, this one, by the way, I can clear the frame. I love it. I love it. I love it. Do I have lines? No, I don't really have lines, do I? That's fine. We'll just make a line. All right, we'll make our own line. I'll do black for the actual chart. So here's one of these things. So you may have an asset that's sort of moving along, kind of doing its thing like this, And so we're here. We're right here at this point in time. Oh, this one doesn't have letters, does it? Oh, boy. What is this? I don't know what this here is. Oh, it's a text box. It does have letters. Oh, perfect. So let's just say, for example, I'm thinking it's too high. It's too high. It's an all-time high. Oh, yes, I like it, and I can move it. So that's the thought. And sometimes I get this. People are like, oh, I don't want to buy it at an all-time high. Well, there it is. It's at an all-time high. So you basically decide, I would rather buy the dip. So sure, let's do that. Let's buy the dip. But here's what sometimes, and this is probably more often than you think, but here's what does happen sometimes is, sorry, put you right over here for the moment. I'm going to, I'll change the color. I'm going to change this to, we'll go with this color now. All right, so now let's say it goes down a little bit. It goes up, but you're looking for that big dip, right? And, oh, there it is. There it is. There's your big dip. And of course, what do? Well, that's what you've been waiting for. So you buy. Ah ha ha, you bought the dip. Congratulations. But, and I think you guys can see exactly what I'm about to say. Let's take a look at where that dip is. So you ended up paying, let's say, for example, that this was $100. Yeah. Oh, all right. I can still draw a little bit. So, and you were a little bit too concerned. You were concerned about down here. You didn't want to buy it at, we'll say that was 90. So you didn't want to buy at 90 because it was an all-time high. You wanted to wait for a nice big dip. And you got a big dip. You got a big dip. But a lot of times, that big dip is still more than where if you would have just bought initially. So you got to keep that in mind. That happens a lot. I see people saying, it's all-time high. I'm not going to buy the dip. I'm not going to buy the dip. Well, here's the thing. The market tends to keep moving up for the most part. If you, especially when we get into a good, strong bull market, if you guys remember after the pandemic, that bull market that we had, it was like every day on the news, S&P 500, new all-time high, S&P 500, new all-time high, every day, every single day. So that's never, never good. And, that does happen. So it's just something to keep in mind. So yes, I do use charts, and generally what I will do is if I'm looking at something moving sideways. Now, if I do have a stock that is, just give me a second here. Let's pull this up. Oh, I have different types of pens. Oh, I can do a marker, a highlighter, or a brush. Well, let's do a brush. If I've got this market, oh, is that what a brush is? I'm learning. Let's just clear the frame. Oh, we'll go back to a pen. If you have that market, that's kind of like, moving sideways for the most part. Well, for me, in a case like that, this is a perfect time to DCA and buy the dip. So in a case like that, when I got a market moving in that direction, what I'd like to do is, let's say I'm going to buy, we'll just make a series. We'll make a circle for where the buys. So maybe I'm gonna, whoops, come on guys, there we go. I might buy here. Let's say I'm just buying every so often. Oh, do I have to click this every time? I do. All right, so I ended up buying here, DCAing. I ended up here. Ended up here. Oh, that was a buying the dip opportunity. But that's one of the ways to go. Now, if you want to, you can set aside a little bit. So let's say, for example, that was my main buys, but maybe I put aside 10%, 20%, depending on where I am looking for the dip. And maybe in that case, we'll use a triangle. In that case, I may have come in and managed to snag a couple of these dips. Now, mind you, it is sometimes difficult to catch them dead on, but we'll just say in this case, for the example, that we pulled it off. So in this case here, you're getting a fair price from just buying the dip from just dollar cost averaging. And then these couple of opportunities where you did get an opportunity to buy the dip, that will pull you down. So you get a slightly better than the fair value of it, which is great. So that's just one of those ways to look at it. But once again, when it is going up, you waiting for that dip. So you waiting for that correction, you could very well end up paying more than if you had just bought where you began waiting. If you bought there, instead of going up, you could be in a lot better situation. All right. Mac wants to know, can you tell me more about the dilution? How much dilution happened? I don't have the exact figures on Air Canada, but they did dilute quite a bit. Now, I don't know. Let me just try something here. We'll head over to Simply Wall Street. All right. Now, I think it's only going to give me the last month, but we'll go into Air Canada. I'm going to come down here. All right. Let's see here. All right, what am I looking for? I'm looking for, all right, here we go. All right, just give me a second here. We're pulling through to see what we have here. All right, compensation. I don't care about that so much. All right, so here's insider. Let's see. This is very interesting. If you look at it, a lot of all the insider stuff right now in Air Canada is insider buying. That's a strong indication that people have a lot of faith in that company. So definitely interesting here. Let's see. So in the last year, they have not done any dilution, but I know they had done it longer, much further away. I don't know if I can. Let's pull up some data here. Whoops. Number of shares, ownership. No, it's not giving me anything in here that I can use. But they did do a fair amount of dilution, a few years back. Gosh. You know who we can ask? Just give me a second here. All right. What is that? Oh, web service. I don't know if she'll know how much. This is a shot in the dark. We'll see. I don't know if we're going to get an answer from ChatGPT. Let's see. A significant dilution since the pandemic. All right. Let's see. Air Canada equity short up its balance sheet. This resulted in a notable increase in the number of shares. It doesn't give me the exact numbers. It's just kind of giving you exactly what I've been saying. There was notable dilution afterwards. So yeah, not a good thing. See, nobody loves Air Canada. Yeah, I get that. But it's an oligopoly, so I don't know. What can you say? What about BTOS? Ooh, I noticed this. We got ourselves we received a dividend from the Banana Bread Company. So there's one. We're 3 away from a Friday show, guys. Thank you very much, Banana Bread Company. I do not know who the Banana Bread Company is, by the way. I'm just putting that out there. They are somebody, but I don't know who. I've come to suspect different people, but every time I suspect something or somebody, something happens in chat that makes me think, no, there's no way it can be them, because either they're posting at the same time as the Banana Bread Company. I mean, they could be somebody with 2 computers, right? Just do anyway. It's it's fun. All right, back to Michael. What about BTOS? Let me pull up. Seriously, why is this site? I think it's probably because I have way too many things open nowadays. Let's just close a couple of these things here. And then I'll just reload this. GMX money. All right, BTOS. Oops, not BYOS. BTOS. All right. Ooh, I'm not seeing BTOS. I know from past that I just have to go to Yahoo Finance. All right. Let's go to Yahoo Finance, see who this, because I'm not familiar with, I will admit I'm not familiar with BTOS, at least not with their ticker. Doesn't mean I'm not familiar with the company. I'm not seeing anything at all. Michael, you're going to have to give me more information. I do not know who BTOS is. Let's see. 33 mines and 5 pending land agreements. Ooh, that's not bad. That's not bad. Oh, bros. There we go. There we go. That's a completely different thing than BTOS. Oh my God. Is that, I think, all right, they're not who I was thinking they are. Dutch Bros Inc. Class A. Let's take a look. First of all, we'll take a look and see how they've been doing. So they haven't been doing well. They've been going very, very flat for quite a while. Let's see. No dividend on them. They're a growth stock. Well, this is never good in a growth stock if they stay absolutely flat. What are they doing? What do they do? Let's see here. Let's see. Drive-through coffee shops that are focused on serving A handcrafted beverage. Okay. I can see why they're probably flat. This is a company that it sounds to me like they're probably higher end than, or they may not be, but they just don't have that popularity or the growth of like Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts for that matter. So that might be part of what we're running into. People are just not spending on the more, on coffee that isn't the mainstay. That may be what's going on. Fears of a recession maybe sort of curtailing people from spending a lot of money outside on coffee. I mean, I know myself. I cannot remember the last time I bought coffee outside of the house. It's been a while. So yeah, we could have that situation here. Like I'll make my own coffee and then I will drink it on stream. Oh, very, very good. So yeah, I'm not sure too much about what is going on here, but let me take a look at one more thing here. Let's just go into their key data. Oh boy, they do have a lot of debt, 179% debt to equity ratio. Return on equity, a little low. Return on assets, yeah, not the best, but that is kind of one of these things. And their earnings per share is like 3 cents. That's not great. I would not. This is a company I would not invest in them. There's nothing here that excites me with this one at all. Nothing at all. Oh boy. CCR, Cedar Clearwater Revival or something like that. And CNR equal great stock. Let's see. H-band chart looks good and the fundamentals are great and has more upside than downside. Nice. I think we just looked at them. Good old Cisco kicking after hours. Let's see. Vic says, let me get this right. Futures, pre-market, market, aftermarket, but we can only trade in market hours. Well, yes and no. Depends on who you're with. I know with National Bank, you can do after-hour trading. Now, not Canadian stocks, but U.S. stocks. And you have to call them to make the trades. So you actually have to call and talk to one of their representatives at National Bank to do it. I believe Wealthsimple has after-hour trading too. I don't know if you have to call them. I don't know how that works. If anybody does, definitely drop that in the chat. Okay, Al says, hola. Exactly. Dutch Bros is a coffee shop. All right. Love Cole ZF Turkish bottler for Middle East and the Stan countries with half the population under 18. They have a huge growth. I've been in love since $13. Ooh, nice. Nice. Yeah, absolutely. I can see, and that sounds like I like the sound right there. So when you can, and that's the thing, think about what a company offers. So sometimes we look at the numbers, we look at the data, we say, okay, here's all the data. But sometimes it makes sense to look at what they're offering. So for example, actually a really good example, I will show you a good example. SIA. SIA is a great example. So Sienna Senior Living. So they make basically old age homes. And here's the thing. Let's take a look at the 1 year. Look at what they're doing. Now, I did a deep dive. I did a deep dive on them back in here. I was pretty harsh on them, but I always maintained that even though they weren't doing well through the bull market or the bear market, they had a lot of potential. And the potential they had, and this is where you look beyond the numbers, is you look and say, okay, well, what do? They run old age homes. Who are the type of people going into old age homes? Well, we're starting to move the boomers in there. All right. Is there a lot of boomers? Holy banana bread. Is there ever a lot of boomers? So that means there's a giant market for old age homes, things like that. Anything in healthcare, anything that helps people, who are seniors. There's a lot of it. It's there. And you can see it right here, and there's a lot of different things you can look at, whether it be things for improving seniors' lives, like the homes. You could even look at people that make them those little walker things. I bet you you could probably find some good investments in that area as well. And now, I mean, if you want to get morbid as well, there's also end of life stuff, because obviously, as you get that giant wave of seniors moving in, well, on the other end of that is, well, unfortunately, it's end of life. But those are some things that you could invest in if you're okay with it. Some people morally will be like, nope, I'm not touching that. That's a little bit too morbid for me. So it's kind of one of those things just to sort of keep in mind. All right. Do they have Dutch Brothers in Canada? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I've never seen a Dutch Brothers coffee before. Let's see. $20 per hour minimum wage is curtailing everyone from fast food. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I know there's been a lot of talk up here with some of fast foods, even getting rid of their restaurants and going entirely into either a delivery or drive-through model. So I've been hearing that, or just, you can walk in, grab your food and leave, that type of thing as well. But it's really, really interesting. And as they make these new boards, like your new ordering boards, you can actually reduce a lot of the number of employees, because you'll have AI taking your order and doing all of the transactional stuff. So you basically don't need your front end staff. All you need is your back end staff, the people who are cooking it. And you could even replace them with robots, which I hate to say it, may not be a bad thing. At least then you know that your burger's going to be cooked right every single time. But, it is kind of interesting. Let's see. I can buy or sell after hours online. There's no difference during versus after hours for me. Yeah, and that's not too shabby at all. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. Like, it is very annoying. I understand. Like, when you're watching, like a market, for example, an earnings call drops right at the bell, and the stock starts flying up. And if you're in that situation where you don't have access to after-hour tradings, that can definitely be a little on the frustrating side. Jungle, you're late again. Holy banana bread. Well, you're here now. Let's see. TD finally allowing partial share purchases. It will speed up my drip on RY. Yes. Now, TD has... Now, here's the thing. This is a good thing. Unfortunately, you still have their commissions on their trades. But what I do really like is with their fractional shares, when you buy it, you get it immediately. So with Wealthsimple, when you buy a fractional share, you don't get it to the end of the day. So what that means is that you don't know how much you're paying for it, because, you have to go with the price at whatever it is when the market closes. But here's the beautiful thing. With the TD, it also allows you to, if you want to trade fractionally. So, for example, if you want to do swing trades on bigger companies, but you don't want to, you don't want to have to buy a big, massive share. You want to buy, so you can work it out that way as well. So that's just something that's kind of interesting out there. But as Nine said, and I just skipped over the banana bread company, but I'm coming right back to you guys. I'm coming right back. As Nine said, $10 commission fee. So yeah, that's pretty hefty. That is definitely pretty hefty. So, Wealthsimple is probably still your better choice, I think. But it does kind of suck, because even with Wealthsimple, if you trying to sell fractional shares, because it probably, because something happened that caused the price to go up and you were nice in a good profit point, well, you could put the sale in, but by the end of the day, if that price has come back down, you're kind of, you're kind of not in a great place. All right. And the banana bread company back again with another dividend. Boy, that's two. So we just need two more if you guys want a Friday show. So that's kind of one of those things. All right. So there's a new story that came out today, guys. And I kind of hinted at this on the thing. Give me a second. Let me actually pull up. I'm going to pull up the story. I'll pull up the page. We'll do that. Actually, I saw it on Global. It was on Global. So yeah, it's all about MPox. So this is the particular one here. So MPox, it used to be called monkeypox. So I think in the title I called it monkeypox. They don't call it that anymore. It's now called MPox, but they have declared it to be a global public health emergency. So the WHO, it's like you hear this and you go, here we go again, here we go again. Right now, it's not as widespread, or it doesn't even look to be as threatening as COVID was. So I don't think this is going to devolve into a pandemic. So definitely not something to be super worried about. However, I think it has the potential to be more kind of in that SARS area when it comes to some of the problems. So right now, there's a lot of outbreaks in Africa and one other place. Guess where? If you think SARS, you'll know where. Toronto. So Toronto has a little bit of an outbreak out there as well. But I don't think this is something to get too panicked about. And even if it did get really bad, let's say it did make it to pandemic status, I really don't think we get to a point where we would have lockdowns and that's because, we're still paying for the last pandemic. We can't afford a pandemic. And I think governments kind of know. They're like, yeah, we just can't do it. So I don't think we'll see that happen, even if it got to the worst case scenario. And here's the other good news about this is that I think the world has learned a lot of lessons about how we mismanaged COVID from the beginning, to the point that this one should not be mismanaged, and it probably will be sort of a passing news story. So the only reason I even wanted to bring it up is just in case any of you were sitting back thinking, oh no, here we go again. This is going to tank the markets. We're going to have another giant COVID thing on the market. It's not. We're going to be fine. This is just something that we're going to get. We'll get it under control, and I think it'll be absolutely fine. All right, let's come back to chat. We'll remove the. We'll remove them. We still haven't taken our final look at the markets. Holy banana bread! I forgot. We'll get there in a moment. Anyone with Mogo and $15 a month straight fee? Yeah, Mogo. See, Mogo at one point was commission free, but I don't like paying a fee. I don't like it if I don't have to. Let's see. A single buy sell on the big banks broker will make Mogo have value. Well, yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing. Because you've got National Bank, you've got, National Bank, Wealthsimple, also Desjardins, all of those commission free. You're not paying a monthly fee. Now, you could say, though, and you can say this with National Bank, if you have, I think it's less than 20,000, there's an annual fee, and I don't know what it is, but if your assets are more than 20,000, you're fine. It's waived. So it's not a big thing. Mogo is just another broker. It's another one of these independent little brokers. So I don't think they're that big, but they do exist. I think at one point, wasn't Mogo doing like a Bitcoin card or something at one point? So it's hard to say. It's hard to say what's going on with them. All right, let's take that final look at the market. Let's actually do that. That way, it's like I'm doing my job. It's like I'm doing my job here. I should bring this up here. All right. So the market, we did finish in the green. TSX up 0.63%. S&P 500 up 0.38%. NASDAQ finished in the green, up 0.09%. Dow Jones also up 0.61%. But commodities and Bitcoin all in the red. Gold down 0.76%, silver down 1.11%, WTI 1.95% down, Bitcoin 2.46% down, and Ethereum negative 1.04%. So not the best day on the market for commodities. Canadian dollar today, 72.90 cents. To the US. So not too shabby. That's actually not a bad place for our dollar to be. And looking at our heat map one more time, I do like this here. Look at this. Routers up, or router, depending. Everybody has a different pronunciation for them. Routers up 1.98%. A Constellation Software also up today. So, and CNR got back into the positive. I gotta like that. Gotta like that for sure. CNQ also up, not too shabby. Most of our utilities looking good, like Enbridge and over here, Ford. Well, Fortis actually didn't go anywhere today. They finished at 0.00%. What can you say? What can you say? So yeah, not too shabby. TELUS though, down quite a bit on the communication side, down 1.13%. All right. Once again, these look pretty good. VEQT actually did end up winning a 0.43 to XEQT's 0.42. So there we go. Vanguard gets bragging rights for today. And of course, over on the US, NVIDIA finished. Oh, they had a strong finish. When we looked at this earlier, they were only up 1%. They finished up 1.67%. Yeah, look at this. A nice finish. Now, NVIDIA, August 28th is the day we're all looking forward to. That is their next earnings report. So that could be a really good day. I have a feeling it will be a nice day for NVIDIA. I would actually like to see them make a new all-time high right now. What is it? 135.58. I'd love to see them break that 140. We'll see. We'll have to see. There's still time between now and the end of the month, about 2 weeks. So not too shabby. And of course, good old Bitcoin in the red, Ethereum in the red, Solana in the red, a lot of coins in the red, including XRP. So there we go. That is the market. So let's get back to you guys. Let's get back to you guys here. Larry says, sold my crude yesterday, still holding my natural gas for the winter. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, crude has not been doing the best lately. They've definitely not been doing the best lately, even with the worries of what's going on in the Middle East. And, I know a lot of people are pretty worried, like, when is Iran going to do their thing? And now there is thoughts that if they can get a peace treaty between, or a ceasefire between Israel and Gaza, they might that might be enough to appease Iran. But that's a tall order. That may be a tall order. So we'll have to see. There's a lot of tension over there, and if a war were to break out there, that could have a big impact on oil. But I'm gonna be on the optimistic side and say that we get close to the poop hitting the fan, but it doesn't actually hit the fan, because I don't want to see things escalate any further in the Middle East, if at all possible. Al says, I can't believe I've had a few green days in a row. Oh yeah. Jungle says, I pronounce it Reuters. There we go, Reuters. Yeah, exactly. I can be different and wrong. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, if you really want to know how to pronounce it, all you got to do is call up the company and listen to the name of the company on their, on their operator thing, and that will usually give you the correct pronunciation. Fingers crossed for special dividends. Ooh, I love special dividends. Anytime I get extra dividends, I'm like, there, yes, please. Al says, I'm sure you are correct. I heard them say it that way quite often on YouTube. Clicks Jungle. There we go. There we go. They hit 140 during that day. Okay, there we go. So let's go with 150 then. We'll go with 150. Oh, yeah. I assumed you were talking about Torlamine. So that's a nice thing about Torlamine. Torlamine has that those special dividends. They did them last year, and they've been doing them this year. So kind of makes me sad that I sold out of Torlamine, after last year, because I was like, okay, I'm in for the special dividends. Should have stayed. I should have stayed, but you know what? That's the way it happens. Vic says, I called a Descartes Systems to get pronouncement right. Yep. Actually, it's funny. When I did a deep dive years ago on Pembina, I was pronouncing the B, so I was saying Pembina. Well, let me just say, I had somebody in the comments say, it's the B is silent. I know. I called them and got the pronunciation from them. I was like, oh boy. So now it's like anytime I'm saying it, it's like it's in the back of my head. I gotta make sure the B is silent. Make sure the B is silent. So Pemina. So it's fun. It's fun. I try, but I also know that if anybody is going to crucify a pronunciation of a word, it will be me. It will absolutely be me. And holy banana bread. Here's the banana bread company in one more time with another dividend. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. You have almost single-handedly won that extra market close on Friday. I'm like, holy cow. So we're one away. So guys, who's it gonna be? Who's not? Don't make banana bread carry the whole kit and caboodle. That's what we go with, kit and caboodle. So yeah, that's kind of fun. Whew. All right. We are getting close to the end, guys. So this is where I put out that little, let's get in them final questions, and we'll get that all going. I do want to point out for the channel members, I did drop a post today just to ask you for your ideas, because next week is the channel member exclusive live stream. So let's get some good ideas, and we'll get a poll up hopefully by the end of the week. Basically, I get the poll up. Once I've got 5 good ideas, we're ready to go. Polls going up. I haven't looked yet to see if I got any good ideas, but I have a feeling we got something in there. The other thing, and this is a thing as well I'm going to bring to the channel member soon. On the weekend, on the live stream on Sunday, people were talking about the battles, and somebody was like, we want a battle again. We want one battle. So I am looking at doing another battle coming up. It's probably going to be in September. But I'm going to ask the channel members. I'm going to let them pick who's doing the battle. Which sector, which companies. And we'll do another battle video, because those were a lot of fun. So I can't wait for that. So that is something that is coming up. Those of you who are new, a battle. Oh, well, Al wants to know about a battle. All right. So a battle is where we take 2 companies and we pit them against each other fundamentally. And then we compare their stats and we come up with a winner, basically based on all of their stats, going through a whole bunch of criteria. And whoever has the better stats ends up winning the battle. And they can, it's not like that. It's not like if Enbridge wins, for example, I don't actually call up Enbridge. It's like, hey, I'm going to send you a plaque. They probably would say, no, don't bother. So we'll have to wait. But that is coming up pretty darn soon. So battles are a lot of fun. And here we go. We got it. Larry came in, saved the day. Ginger snaps. So there we go. We now have a Friday show. So fantastic. Banana bread carried most of the weight, but Larry was the what do you call that? The cleanup hitter. Came in. Banana bread company loaded the bases, and Larry hit the home run. So there we go. Yay me, a baseball analogy. Love it. Let's see. Looks like Nike is finally going back to 100 again from 70. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people, when Nike was way down, there was a lot of people who kept asking me, "Are they done? Is Nike done?" I'm like, no, they're not done. So it's good to see them heading back up, and we kind of suspected that was gonna happen. And then, how does the battle work? So once again, it's basically like, in a sense, it's like you're getting 2 deep dives. Think of it this way: you're getting 2 deep dives with a comparison. So it's a little bit different. I can't wait to, and you never know, maybe battles will take off again. Because basically, I had introduced battles back 2 years ago, and they just didn't do that well. So, they weren't doing as well as normal deep dives, which is funny because you're kind of getting 2 deep dives for the price of 1. So they didn't do very well. Actually, I did try as well. I was like, okay, I like the idea of 2 for 1. I also did this one shot where I did a 2 for 1. So 2 deep dives in 1 video. And the funny thing is, I think the big deep dive was Tesla, and then a mini deep dive I did on EQ Bank. But nobody realized. People who were like, "Oh, I don't care about Tesla," they didn't realize that the one they cared about was in there as well. So, that didn't work that well. But it's kind of the YouTube game. We come in, we we throw things at the wall, and we see what sticks. And that's basically, you guys basically tell me what sticks because from views, likes, all of that thing, it helps me determine what material and what content everybody wants to see. Now, it's one of the nice things here is that because we do a lot of voting, it's usually we have material. Occasionally, though, I've seen this happen once or twice. I think it was with Air Canada. So Air Canada was up for a deep dive, and they had won. And I made the video, and then it was one of the lowest rated deep dives in a while. I was just like, seriously. Everybody wanted Air Canada, and I did it, and nobody watched it, so it was funny. It happens, though. It's kind of that funny thing with YouTube. All right. Well, guys, we've had another good stream, another hour, 20 minutes. We will be back here again on Friday. Keep in mind, we do have a deep dive coming out Friday as well. The channel members will be able to watch it tomorrow. And that is for Brookfield Corporation. I've actually already filmed it and edited it. It's done. I just have to make the thumbnail tomorrow. I'll put it out about 2, because I think the last one, my preview for the channel members, I was a little bit late. I was just like, I don't know what it was. I thought I'd put it up, and I was busy with something else, and then I realized, oh my God, it's almost 3 o'clock, and I haven't put it up yet. So it was a little late, but this one will be on time for sure. All right, we've come to the end. Thank you guys once again. Huge shout out to Banana Bread Company and Larry Summers, who've gotten you guys a Friday show. So we will be back here Friday. I can't wait. Let's hope the market stays green all the way there. That would be kind of fun. Until then, take care, everybody. Have a great evening.